Hi, boys and girls. So, this is our first pictorial input for California Gold Rush. And yes, we're looking at a map that's a little bit more than just California. So, California is approximately right in here, and my map is definitely not to scale here. But in order to start talking about the California Gold Rush, we need to review things about Mexico, because at this point in history, California is part of Mexico. And then I also need to go over what's happening in the United States of America here on the east side of our continent. What happened here in the middle of our continent was something called the Louisiana Purchase. Some explorers, some important explorers. And then, of course, let's just do a quick review of the Mexican American War. So we remember that the Mexican American War was happening in the years of 1848 until, 1846 until 1848. This is where we left off in our lesson at the end of explorers, missions, and ranchos. Okay. When they received independence, so when they became independent, so after independence, the Mexican government the Mexican army was very weak. So the Mexican army was very weak. And at the same time, the United States of America was starting to move west. Okay, was moving west. And they went to Texas. They started off in Texas and then moved into California. Now, this is an interesting part of this part of history, because what ended up happening was really quite unfair to the newly formed country of Mexico. And present-day Mexico is really this part right in here. This is what present-day Mexico is. But at this point in history, in 1846 to 1848, Mexico was actually up in here. So this is present-day Texas, present-day Arizona, or New Mexico, Arizona, California, parts of Colorado were part of Mexico. Mexico, as you can see, was quite a much larger area. So that's kind of an interesting thing for us to remember when we're talking about this part of history. The other things that were very interesting at this point is that the United States of America, really not that unlike the way we treat Mexico as a country today, we were not very respectful. And we ended up with U.S. citizens living in the area that's present-day Texas. And there was this big land dispute. So a land dispute. And the land dispute was basically, whose land was it? Was it the United States of America's land? Was it Mexico's land? And the Mexican government said, get out. Mexico said, get out. Said to get out. And we didn't. The United States of Americans did not get out. So this ended up with a man by the name of John Fremont. John C. Fremont. And he used 31 citizens. So John C. Fremont and 31 citizens got together and they revolted in Sonoma, California. That's just maybe a 2 hour and a half, 2 hour drive north of where we are. So they revolted in Sonoma. And that revolt is called the Bear Flag Revolt. The Bear Flag Revolt. And we became an independent country at that point. We became the Republic of California. But then quickly became part of the United States, as we will learn through our lesson here in California Gold Rushes.